Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another live stream. And the way we've been doing it here on the channel is that I put out a recorded video and I kind of show you the process of how to do something cool, usually something retro, something vintage, reverse engineering nostalgia and stuff. So the last video I put out last week was about anaglyphic 3D art. And if you're not familiar with what that is, maybe this will kind of give you a hint. Hold on, I got some tape on these things so they'll sit still. But yeah, anaglyphic 3D art, which is basically art that's three-dimensional using red and blue glasses. So we're going to do a few different things today. We are going to, one thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the different 3D techniques and things like that. If you watch the video, you'll know that I did some digital work, like some of these prints that I have, and I think all three of these, and there may be some other, I'm not sure what else. I might throw in some 3D cards or something. But there's a bundle right now on my website at circworks.com with all of these. So I just wanted to mention that. But I've been creating these digital prints, these anaglyphic 3D prints, and I show the process of how to do this one. This one here isn't my artwork; it's my property. But I hired an artist to do a cover, and I liked it so much I wanted to give it the 3D treatment. But like this stuff, this one here and this one here, that's my artwork and everything. But all of these will be available in a bundle right now. It's a limited edition bundle on my website. But so I showed the process of how to do that stuff digitally. But what I want to do is today I want to show you how you can just for fun, you can do it with either red and blue color pencils or markers or whatever. So just kind of a fun technique that we can play around with using, and I realize most of you aren't prepared for this, so you don't have like the tracing paper or the pens, but hopefully you can check this out and then maybe come back. The other thing that would be helpful is if you had some of these, and these are available on Amazon, and if I can remember, I will put a link to where, I mean, if you just search red and blue 3D glasses, you'll find them, and you got to buy them in like a bundle, but they're not expensive and everything. And if you're looking to do this kind of stuff, it might be nice to have a few of these lying around and everything, because I don't know, it just takes me back. It's just a fun thing that I used to create. I wish I would have had some of those. I showed some on the other video, but I tried to do this stuff when I was a kid, but I didn't have the right, kind of markers and things like that. And it worked okay as a kid, but now, just being a little more familiar with how that all works, I've kind of made some different techniques. And while I prefer to do something really cool digitally, because you do get kind of a better effect when you're working digitally, because it's sort of a technical process. You can do it. You can do it with just if you find the right color markers, and the blue is the key. It's really hard to find the particular blue. Red's not so difficult. Most red markers or pencils or whatever will do. But so that's what we're going to do today. The other thing we're going to do is I have 3 sets unopened of these Jaws 3D cards. These are vintage. These are from 1983. And I'm going to open these up later on in the stream. And what I'm going to try to do, and I don't know how successful it's going to be. I did a Patreon video a little while ago. But in that Patreon video, I opened a whole box of they're called Baseball's Greatest Gross Outs cards. And to complete that whole set. Now, I have right here, these are my vintage cards that I had from when I was a kid. I kept these. This is close to the whole set. I think I wrote it down here. So I've got, it looks like I need 6 cards. These number cards I wrote down. We're going to see if we can complete this set with these 3 packs, which might not be that easy, because like I said, 6 cards, I'd have to get at least 2 on average out of each 3 of these packs. But we're going to see what we can do. We're going to see what we can do. And even if I don't build the whole set, it's going to be fun, because these have not been opened, and I didn't realize when I first picked these up that they do have bubble gum. So if you watched the last video or any of those, and you saw some of the bubble gum that was in the Baseball's Greatest Gross Outs, pretty nasty. We'll see if these are as nasty. And hopefully, the problem we had on that stream is that the top card of every one, because the bubble gum was so old that, when you open it, you lose the top card because it just sticks to it and destroys the top card. So hopefully we won't have that problem. And the cool thing is that's why I didn't think they had bubble gum, because they also have a 3D viewer. And there's 6 cards. So out of those 6 cards, we need to get at least 2 on average from each pack. So we'll see if we can do that. But that'll be something fun to do. And I always feel bad. Like there's probably people that may stumble on this and see me opening these and just freak out because I'm opening these vintage packs, because they're even if I was to collect the whole set and build the whole set and sell this on eBay, if it was a full set, it'd probably be cheaper than maybe a handful of these unopened packs. So that's just kind of how it works. But it's going to be fun to do that. So that's kind of what we're going to do. I'll kind of show off some other stuff before we get started. And I want to talk a little bit about some different things. But actually, you know what I should do is I should kind of check on the chat real quick, because I was not paying attention. Sorry, guys. Let's see. So Philip says, I really want to learn how to make those 3D images. Always loved those and used to try drawing them many years ago. Yeah. So Phil, like if you want to kind of learn how at least one technique that I'm going to try. And to be honest, I haven't really tried this before, but I think it will work. It's a little different than what I was doing when I was a kid, but just using markers or colored pencils or whatever. And then we've got Ralph, and a lot of people. Josh, my buddy Josh Kimball, who just did a live stream, sent some people over my way. So thanks to Josh. So thanks for everyone for showing up. Let's see. Philip says, thanks. That's amazing. I saw that flick when I was in the theater when I was a kid. Couldn't find those anywhere. Yeah, I found them on eBay. They weren't cheap, but they weren't super expensive. So I just thought it'd be fun to kind of open those up there. And then let's see. Edie says, I saw Maelstrom, Destructor of Jared. Said, yes. That's funny, because I thought Edie, I thought you were younger, so you must have watched that on like VHS. Did you see it? Let's see. They didn't. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about that, but they didn't use the red and blue Anaglyph glasses. Correct. I'm going to talk a little bit about, and Jaws 3D wasn't Anaglyph either. That was a technique called polarized. So, and that's one thing I might as well get into it right now. But so there's a few different 3D techniques. There's the Anaglyph, which is sort of the original, like back in the 50s. I think it was the 50s, before my time, but back in the 50s, they had, basically 3D movies, and those were in black and white. And they had the red and blue glasses. And it really, that's another thing I want to mention. You'll notice that all my 3D prints are black and white. Because when you're viewing through, if you're trying to find like color, if you're looking through red and blue, colors tend to get really muddy and everything. But there's, so there's those two different, and there may be more. There's also like I don't know if it's lenticular, but you've seen those like 3D cards or whatever that you can just hold up, and they're 3D without any kind of glasses. It's some kind of lenticular thing, like the things that you move around and it'll like the image will move. I think that's the same. I think that's a similar technique. So anyway, but yeah, so the original like 3D movies and everything, those were Anaglyph. The problem with the benefit to Anaglyph 3D is that you can like watch if it's a movie or whatever, and like I said, usually black and white, but not all. There have been some color Anaglyph movies. They don't look that great in my opinion, but you can watch on like a VHS. Now they've got like 3D TVs and everything that you can get special polarized glasses, and you can watch movies on 3D. So I'm sure Jaws 3D has been re-released nowadays and you can watch it. But at the time, because it was polarized, you couldn't. That's why we got this here. This is just Jaws 3D. So when it was on, it was on VHS back in the day, it wasn't in 3D because you polarize. You need basically like two cameras or special glasses that have either something that fluctuates or it's got like different lenses or something like that. I'm not exactly sure about all that technology and everything. But so those are some of the different techniques. But Anaglyph, so Anaglyphic 3D, and I'm not really sure on the timeline, but so you had movies like the one Edie mentioned, Maelstrom, and then there was like Space Hunter and all these really kind of bad sci-fi movies, but I went and saw them all because they were 3D. So there's that. So So those were popular, and also like if you were to go to like Disneyland or something with Captain EO, you know, they get, or some of the rides nowadays, that's probably polarized technology, and it just looks like shades. You know, they just look like regular shades. They're not colored or anything like that. So the first was the Anaglyph. The other thing I should mention is, and I'm not sure if this is considered Anaglyph, but like stereoscopic, like if you look in a Viewmaster, same principle. That might be more of a polarized, because you're looking through two different like color lenses or two different photographs, and your eye kind of merges them together. So that's another 3D technique, and that'd be something I'd love to do sometime on the channel, is actually build like a Viewmaster. That might get a little complicated, but I do want to get a little more complicated as we go, and just learn and stretch my boundaries on that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember, like, there was also sort of a comeback of Anaglyph, in addition to when Jaws 3D and all these 3D horror movies, usually the third horror movie, like Jaws 3D, Amityville 3D, Friday 13th 3D. Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting to turn off. Let's see, where is that comment? So you guys can see it's taking up all the screen. All right, so there was a resurgence in Anaglyph 3D back in the 80s. There was the one that I remember, and these were on local television, so it could have been on different channels depending on where you lived, and it maybe didn't air where you were, but there was an old 3D movie called Gorilla at Large that they put out, and it was a big promotion, and you can go out to your 7-Eleven or whatever, and you just pick up a pair of these glasses, and they were branded. They'd say, you know, 3D Vision or whatever, that type of thing. And that you could watch on TV, because it was an old black and white movie that was in 3D. And then later they put out Creature from the Black Lagoon that was in 3D when it came out back in the 50s or 60s or whatever. So there has been, you know, it's kind of been up and down, you know, as far as that. And then even more recently, I mean, I say recent when I'm talking the span of like 30 or 40 years. When I say recently, I'm talking probably in the 2000s, so it's a way back, I think 2000s. But like the Spy Kids movie, even though there was polarized technology, like for the theater, I think Robert Rodriguez just decided he was going to do Anaglyph, because he must have recognized that once that's released on DVD or whatever, you know, people are going to want to watch that in 3D. And up to that point, I don't think, at least affordably, you couldn't buy like 3D glass, like the polarized 3D, and watch it like you can now. And then, you know, more recently, there was a trend where everyone's getting 3D glasses, and now I think that's kind of died down a little bit. So 3D has kind of had its kind of ups and downs and comebacks and all that kind of stuff. But today, like I said, we're going to be diving into some Anaglyph 3D. So let me just go. Yeah, so I'm pulling up some comments. Corey says Captain EO is legit. Yeah, I mean, the 3D and some of those Disney rides and shows and stuff was really really impressive. And then let's see. Let's see. I spent hours looking for the set of character references on my files. Well, something to look at, a folder labeled as character reference. Okay, I'm not sure if that was in reference to. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's so let's see let me move some of this stuff out of the way here and see what we can do. Oh, the other thing I want to show, another big thing. So I showed off the 3D cards. Another big thing that was 3D was comics, and these are probably a few of them. These are, I don't know if I have any more than this, but these I had when I was a kid. Two of them are put out by Eclipse Comics, and this one it's got a Bernie Wrightson cover. I don't know if the interior is not Bernie Wrightson, but this is kind of an homage to the old EC comics. And if you're familiar with those EC horror movies, it's kind of ironic because this title is called Seduction of the Innocent, and there was a book put out. If you comic historians and fans and things may remember, there's a guy named Frederick Wortham who basically initiated this huge kind of witch hunt and everything against comics. And that's what instigated like the Comics Code Authority and everything. But his book that he wrote, Frederick Wortham, it was called Seduction of the Innocent. So it's kind of funny that they took that title. And one of the things that he did was that when they instigated the Comics Code Authority, they took basically every phrase that you could use that EC Comics was using in their titles, whether it was like Tales from the Crypt, so they would say Crypt, or if it was like horror or anything, any of those, they you know, they made it so you couldn't use those as a title. So that basically kind of destroyed EC Comics. So, but later, this was probably in the 80s, EC Comics released these. And I don't know if these might even be reprints from back then, but I don't think so. I think these are all new stories. But these are in 3D. And then you'll kind of notice some differences here. This one's called Normal Man. This is actually by, what's his name? Jim Valentino. So he was one of the Image founders. And he's kind of a really good cartoonist, but I think his strength lies more in the humorous stuff. But you'll notice the difference here. The colors, it's really, if you look, and I know you guys can't see unless you happen to have 3D glasses on you, but this one shows up almost like it would a regular comic. It looks dark, it looks black. So you can see as these, it looks like there's 3 inks here. It looks like there's a red, a blue, and a brown ink. There's no brown ink. Once the red and the blue, they overlap, it fills that solid area like that. So when you're looking at this through the 3D glasses, and the effects look really great on this, it must have took forever to do these comics, but it's a really cool effect. And you can see, once again, it's black and white. I looked in this one. I think this one has a centerfold that's in color. I thought it did. Let me see. Oh, or maybe it's, yeah, I thought it's somewhere. Yeah, here. So there's a color centerfold, and I'm looking through this right now. I know you guys can't see, and it is 3D, but it's because you know, when you've got colors like green that have blue in them, or purple that have red and blue, it gets a real weird effect. But it just definitely does not look as good as the color stuff. Same thing with Spy Kids, because they were using Anaglyph, but they were color movies. It just really is kind of a muddy look to it. But I don't know if I prefer this kind of magenta versus a little more bright, a brighter red. But it's kind of cool. And then another thing they did that was kind of interesting is there's an ad here. I don't know if you can see, but there's 2 ads on one page. And for that, you know, you close your eye, one eye, and then you'd see one ad, and you close the other eye, and you would see the other. So pretty cool. And then here's another one I had. And I ordered a set of, there's a set of 3D Star Wars comics put out by Blackthorn Publishing, and I tried to get a few of those. I had purchased some on eBay, and then I got a message and they refunded my money, and they said they didn't have them anymore. So I was kind of bummed out about that, because I really want to get those. But yeah, there's some cool stuff here. These 3D comics are really cool, and that's kind of what got me wanting to try to create 3D comics. So let's see. All right, so just wanted to share some of that before we dive into this here. Hold on one second. I'm going to get a drink real quick. All right. So what I have is I've got, oh, maybe it's in here. So I printed out this drawing I did of this superhero, okay? And then I've got some tracing paper here. And there's 2 sheets that are kind of pasted together here. There's a flap here. Oh, there's an extra sheet there. And then I want to get some regular white paper. Or maybe I don't need it because I've got this here. Let me clear some of this stuff out of the way. Is Crayola my sponsor, Frank said. No, that would be nice though. I do have some Crayola crayons, and or color pencils, and I think, and we'll get into some of these different, we're going to test some of these out and see what works best. But I did a little pre-test, and I think the Crayola ones, which is nice because they're cheap. I think that might be your best bet as far as some of these things, is the Crayola color pencils. But no, I've got a number of different pens and things that we'll test out. So like I said, I've taped a couple sheets of tracing paper together. And then kind of what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our guide, and then we're going to trace different parts of it. So we'll trace first, when you're doing 3D, you want to look at your image and you want to see, well, what parts are going to come forward. So for something like this, I would do different steps. I do probably the fist here. I do that the most, I guess, the most 3D. All right, and we'll talk about how to do that. And then here a little bit of the forearms. I do that a little less, and then just kind of have it go back. So for this, I would start off. I'd probably make the body kind of the center. So that would be where the blue and the red totally overlap. And that anytime they totally overlap, that's when it's gonna be just the standard, you know, the basically like it looks flat on the paper. Anything that you go back, and you know what, I've got to make a note because I'm trying to remember. Let's see. So I believe when you draw the blue, assuming that you're wearing your glasses correctly, when you draw your blue, it should be to the right of the red in order for it to come out, and vice versa. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to make a note of that, because sometimes I forget. So blue to the right, and I'll just say red left. So that's what you got to remember: blue to the right, red to the left, and that's if you want it to pop out, and it's the opposite if you want it to kind of recede into the background. All right. So first, what we're going to do, we're going to try some. We're going to test out some different. We're going to see kind of what works best as far as pencils, because as I mentioned, the blue is kind of hard to get the right color. And you really want to get like a cyan color, but like I'm looking at, let's test out these first. These are Papermate Flair pencils. And I think I had to buy these in two different sets. I think this came with like a sort of one with a bunch of pastels, and this was just your regular, you know, black, green, red. And then so in order to get those two colors, but I think this is a little too dark. I've got a little stencil here, and we're just gonna test out some simple shapes right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle using this. All right, that's pretty dark, and I mean, I guess you see how it's a little lighter here. It's more of a cyan color, and that's where I find it's hard to get, because if it's too dark a blue, it doesn't seem to work. But I'm going to remember, we're going to want to make the blue to go to the right. Let me make sure I've got the right. I think that's the right one here. And then if I do, and then you can kind of move up or down. I'm not sure exactly what difference that makes, but the further you go, the more it's going to stick out. And right now I'm just going to put an X. That's going to be my flat, so I can see the difference of what's popping out, because I want something to compare it to. So I'm gonna, again, you guys can't see this, but I'm putting on my glasses and I'm gonna hold it up. Let's see. So I'm holding it up, and it does stick out. If I hold it far enough out here, it works pretty good. But I still think the blue needs to be a little bit lighter. So these ones, I'm not gonna recommend these. And the other difference is, because we're doing this on this tracing paper, obviously when I put this over, it's going to be lighter. And if there's blue on here, it might make it lighter just because there's another layer. So I think what I'm going to do when I do these is I'm going to do my blue on the bottom layer. Okay. And then the red on because the red's pretty much works pretty well all the time. Or maybe it could even work better if there was a particular, when I'm looking at these, they're a little more on the you know, magenta side, but still not total magenta. It's more of a reddish, but then again, you know, I look at, let's see, let me look at this one. That's pretty red right there, you know. So, and then you've got ones like this, which isn't my favorite, but that's very magenta. It's almost like a purplish color. Probably not the best. And for all I know, the glasses that came with this may have had different colors. And I've seen red, and I've seen 3D glasses that are red and green too. You could probably, you know what? I probably never done that, because the red and green glasses are so hard to find because they're not as readily available. But maybe green if you're going to do this by hand, maybe a green marker would be easier to come by than trying to dig up some of these cyan colors. So anyway, so we've tested out this one, and I don't know what kind of rating we'll give this, but it's okay, but it's still a little too dark. So the ones I used on the video, and now I'm almost wishing I didn't. I'm kind of wishing that I probably used colored pencils or something. But the ones I showed on my video were these, and these are, I got these off of Amazon just because there was a number. It was a whole pack. Let's see. I figured, you know, I figured out of all these blues in this pack that one of them would be close. So, and it's funny because some of these, here, I'll show you here. So this one here, I thought this was going to be the one. Oh wait, it's got a cap on it. Let me take that off. And maybe because it has a cap, maybe this is the one. That's pretty dark. So I don't think that's going to work. This one here, oh, maybe that works. But then I try that out and I can't even see it. It's so light. Maybe that's supposed to go on like a darker, like a black paper or something. Maybe these are more like, because I think they're gel pens. So these are probably meant to draw on more darker surfaces, which I don't have any black paper or anything. And that's like a silver. so anyway, but this one here is the closest. I think that's the one I played around with as an example on the video. So let's see. So again, where's my, oh, I lost my, oh, there it is. All right. Okay, so we're gonna take and draw another circle. We'll do that in blue. I'll go over it a few times. So that looks, you know, that's pretty cyan color looking, but it might be too light, you know? It's weird. It's just a weird. All right, so now I'm gonna look at this, and yeah, that works a lot better. So they both kind of work, but the problem is the darker the blue, the more you can see. You can kind of see it 3D. You know, it'll stick out like that, but you can see the two images still. So I think the lighter is going to be better. So this is the one I recommended on the video. So it works pretty good. All right. Let's see. Another thing I found was these. This is just a blue highlighter, and I was kind of surprised. I had just drawn some of the paper, and it's hard to draw with because it's got a chisel tip. But let's just test it out here. And that's a little thicker, so that's a pretty good blue. I mean, that looks cyan. And now this marker's kind of messed up, so we'll see how well it works. But this is an Expo. It's actually a dry erase marker. So because obviously they don't make red highlighters. You know, the closest you're going to get is like a pink. So this is the closest thing I could find. So we'll just see. That's way too thick. So I don't know. We'll see what this looks like. And I feel bad because I know you guys can't see if you're not wearing 3D glasses, but it does kind of, it works. It definitely works, but it's thrown off by the fact that the markers are different sizes, and they've got to be close to the same thing. So maybe this might work if you happen to have a blue highlighter and a red kind of marker that's kind of similar. This one's kind of messed up. So that one, I'm just going to say that's kind of we don't really have a good result. These are the ones as a kid that I used to use. And these Le Pen, and so these are the first ones that I bought because I remember using them like, oh, they work pretty good after I experimented with some other stuff. So let's try with the Le Pen. We're gonna see, that's a pretty good blue. And then here's the Le Pen, and these are by Marv or something, or by Marvy, Japan. So these Japanese pens. All right. Yeah, it's not. This is running out of ink here, so I'm going to go over it a few times. Like I said, these are the ones I had as a kid, so we'll see. Yeah, it works pretty good. It works pretty good. Yeah, so these still work pretty well. I don't know how easy these are to come by. So I may have had to buy a box of them, so you may not want to do that. All right. These are Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencils. Now we're getting to the color pencils. I thought for sure these would work because this is a non-photo blue, but I think it's too light. But we're going to see. I'm going to press pretty hard. So yeah, it's pretty light. And then I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to try one more time. There. All right. All right. Are you? Are you? So are you guys? Do you have glasses on? Any of you? Any of you wearing glasses? All right. That one, it works. It works okay. It works. They're all kind of work a little bit, but some of them you just see the ghost image of the other thing. Um, so far, this one, the one that I used on the stream, I think is the best. That's a real light blue, but that's probably not going to work because it's going to get even lighter when we put it, unless we did that on the top layer. But these are just your regular Crayola color pencils, and you could probably buy these in the same pack, probably the basic pack. I think it would have. So the colors, let me see, sky blue and probably just red. I'm guessing it's orange rouge, or red orange. Oh, I'm sorry, that must be the French pronunciation. So red orange. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right, so this is a sky blue pencil. There you go. That looks, we'll see if it's too dark. And then we'll go here. And I'm just going to put a few X's just so I can get something to gauge it against to see how much it pops out. Okay. Yeah. So I think that one is the best. This one I just did is the best. Second best is the one I showed on the stream. The other ones, not so much. So, and that's good because these are really this is probably the cheapest one you're going to get, you know? So that's good. All right. So now we've tested that out. Now I want to do another test before we start on our drawing here. And that is just to see, because the other thing is the further apart you set these, you know, you separate your two images, the more it's going to stick out. But at a certain point, it's going to be too far and it's not going to work. So that's what I want to test out. So I want to see how far I can kind of move over. So first, I'm just going to let's just pretend these are planets. So I'm taking red because it's kind of the darker of the colors, and I'm drawing a few in here just so these will be our sort of flat ones. And then let me do one of these. And this time I'm going to move the blue to the left. So that means this should go in the background a little bit. All right. So these are pretty close to each other. I know it's kind of, you know, it's small. Here, I'll do a bigger one. So this one's going to kind of go in the background. So I'm going to move this to the left and move it over a little more. So that should recede into the background. Now I'm going to take this big one, and this time I'm going to move it to the right, the blue to the right. So that's going to make it stick out. So those are still pretty close, but what if I take one and I move it this far? We'll see how far that is, see if that works. And then I'll do another one that's going in the background. So we'll move the blue to the left. Now if anyone is watching, I don't know how well this would come out. Oh, hey, Josh is in the chat. I thought he had the meeting to go to. I'm a dork. Meeting isn't until Wednesday. Oh no. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Josh, but glad that you're sticking around here. All right. So I'm putting these glasses on. All right. So far, yeah, this is, I'm getting the double image there. If I look at it a certain way, it seems okay. This works pretty good. So I think the trick is and anyone that's like far apart like these, that's a little too far for this. That might not be the case if you're doing the digital stuff, because it's a little more precise. You might be able to get away with being that far out. Let me see. Let me pull one of my prints up. So let's see. Some of the furthest one. So that this image here looks like it's probably pops out the furthest, and it's about as far. It's a little less actually than this one here. So we want to keep them kind of close. So that's going to be sort of the trick. So we're going to see how much, you know, how well we can do with this. All right. Okay. Hold on a second. Just get a little drink here. All right. So let me clear out some space here. And then, all right. Okay, so I've got, I wonder which way is better, this way or that way. Probably doesn't matter. Okay, now I think putting the blue on the bottom layer is going to be the best way to go. All right, so I got my image, and you can do this with anything. You could do this with a drawing that you've made, or you could do it with you could do it with like a coloring book page or whatever you want to do. If you're not the best at doing line art, but you want to have some sort of line art and something that you can look at and say, oh, this would look cool if it was in 3D. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let's see. I think I want my base to be the red. So what I want to do, you know what? Do I have a regular pencil? I don't think I have a regular pencil. I guess it's not going to matter because this isn't anything. Because what I was going to do is I was going to draw, I put these X's down just so I can, if I have to re-register everything, I can make sure that this bottom image is back where it needs to be. And I was going to do that with regular pencil so I can erase it, but I'm just going to lightly draw over these, and I might still be able to erase it, but we're just testing stuff out right now. So, and there's another one over here. So, all right. So now I know where the original is supposed to be. So the first thing I'm going to do, because the part that's going to be in the middle ground where it's basically looks like it's flat on the page is going to be his torso. So I'm going to do his torso first, and I'm going to do that with the red. So we're just going to retrace this. And the reason, as a kid, I try to use stencils, and stencils can be a little hard. If you're tracing, then you can get it a little more accurate. Of course, it's not going to be precise because it's not the exact line art. That's why, it's going to work better if you're doing digital. But I'm going to do the best I can. And I wish I would have known about this technique when I was a kid, because my stuff would have looked a lot better. But this should be something you can do with just about, some basic materials, just some tracing paper and these really cheap Crayola pencils. Okay. Here we go. All right, and then right here. Okay, so we got that. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure. Oh, I got to put some registration marks on the bottom one too, because once I flip this up, I got to be real careful not to move it. So I'm flipping it up. Sorry if you guys can hear. I've got 3 dogs here, and one of them is barking. So, all right. So now I might. Oops. Let's see, I bumped that other camera. All right, I might not even have to do this, because I think if I just have the red, it might not matter if I've got the blue too, but just to be safe, I'm going to do the same thing with blue. Now this one isn't going to pop out because they're exactly the same space, assuming that this is lined up correctly. Yeah, there's, not everyone sees the 3 image. Obviously, I had a comment like, well, what if you only have one eye? Well, unfortunately, if you only have one eye, it's not going to work. And then some people who have, different, vision problems. Some people, I've heard people like that the 3D gives them headaches. And so it doesn't always work for everyone. For me, it works pretty good. I mean, now that my eyes are getting worse and I have glasses, I have to put the 3D glasses over my extra glasses, but it still works pretty good. All right, so now I've got my blue. So that's the base right there. So now what we're going to do, let's flip this back over. Oops. See, I want to make sure I line it up. That's the tricky part, is getting everything to line up. All right, so now you can see that we put the 2 layers on over each other. It's kind of one color. And I don't know, maybe I should have made this darker. If that's the case, we can go over it. We can go over it once more, because once we get them all laid down, then it'll be a little easier. So the forearms here, I'll make all this right here and all this right here. I'm going to make this. I will make that kind of pop out. So let's see. I think for this, I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to draw the red in the same position. All right. So the reds, I'm not going to move the red. So I'm going to draw these, but I will, when I drop the blue in, I'll drop the blue. Let's see. So here we're going to trace that. And the bummer once again is if you don't have 3D glasses, you can't see this. But who knows? You could go pick up a pack of 3D glasses on Amazon, and this might work. I don't know when you're viewing it, through YouTube, if it's going to look as good as it does with me just staring at it in person. I can't guarantee that, but I can guarantee that if I was to hold up this, it would probably work, especially if I took like a digital, if I took a digital screenshot of it and put it up there, it would work. So all right, so now we'll do this arm. And of course, I'm not really worrying so much about the line weight because that gets a little difficult. But that is one thing, if you're doing it digitally, you can get a little more precise. Because if I go where the line's thicker, okay, let's see. And also, I got to move my hand so I can see where I'm drawing. There and there. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty good. All right, so this is where we're going to do something a little different. All right, so I want this to go back further, so I'm going to move. I think what I'm going to do is I wonder if I could do it all with just moving the blue and keep the reds stationary. Now I think I'm gonna move this over a little bit. So let's see. That would have to go. Yeah. So I've just a tad. I've moved it over just a tad for the red. Now I'm going to draw the legs. Let's see. So hopefully this will work. I've never done this technique before, so we're going to see if this works. But okay. Now you can see I left the cape by itself because that's going to be a whole other layer. I don't know how I want to do the cape. I guess that would be behind the torso, but not as far back as the... I'm going to leave this foot. No, actually what I'll do the foot right now. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to move it over a tad, just a tad. And then I'm going to draw the foot. So this foot is even going to be further over. All right, now let's recalibrate. We'll line everything back up to where it's supposed to go. Okay. Now the head. So the head, yeah, I think. I think I messed up. As I move this back further. Well, you know what? No. I think that'll still work. I think it'll still work. All right, so let's see what I want to do here. With the head, I'm going to move it over a little bit this way. All right, let's draw the head. Now this has got a little more detail in it, so hopefully this isn't getting too boring for you guys. Oh, Josh was talking about the disco dance. How loud is the music? That's one thing I don't know on my end. I'm hoping it's not too loud. I hope it's just kind of in the background. I just wanted something for any awkward silences, but if it's too loud, I've turned it way down. So like Voltron, form the head. Yeah. But let me know that background music if it's too loud. To me, I'm wearing headphones and it seems like it's pretty light. Okay. But this is a pretty cool pose to do for this. So, and it might be, I wonder if I could probably do this digitally too. Just take this guy and cut the pieces apart. Because when you're doing a digital version, so say you got this line art, which was created digitally, if I was to do each thing on a separate layer, that's the benefit to working digitally, is you can take your layers and you can tweak them as much as you want. Like here, if I put it down on paper, it's where it's going to be. It's, unless I redraw it. So, all right. We're getting close. Okay, so we got his head. All right, now for the fists. Now, let's see. We want to move these over a little more. Okay. Now let's draw the fists of Fury. All right. Okay, we got one fist. Now let's draw the other one. And you don't have to do all the red first like I'm doing. You could probably go back and forth with blue and red. It just, I figure the less I kind of move it around, the better. So that's why I'm doing the red first. All right, so now let's recalibrate. Once again, we're going to move everything back to where crop marks, not crop marks, but our registration marks are, these little X's that I drew. And then, so I'm going to move, I think I'm going to move this back a little bit. And I'm going to draw the cape. And then we're going to move to our blue. Let's see. All right. And the other thing you can do, one thing I always do is, like the example that I did, I drew some asteroids just because it's kind of simple to do and you can do that with stencils. But you could draw, like, I could draw some stars here. And if you just take one color like the red and you just drop them there, they'll be like, you know, on the page or whatever. You can draw red and then just another blue dot by it. And you probably wouldn't even have to trace that because you're just drawing dots as long as they're pretty close. All right, so now we've got our red. All right, so now let's see how this works. All right. Okay. So let's remember, in order for it to pop out, our blue has to be to the right. So this is gonna be difficult because I can't. Let's see. So let's see where we are. I'm going to line up the fist right now, okay? So I'm not on my registration marks because now I'm just looking at the position of where the fists are in red. I want to keep that somewhat steady. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to move it over a little bit that way. What I did was I just shifted it down. Here, let me give you a different view here. I just shifted it down this way. So now I'm gonna press a little harder because the blue is going to be on the underneath layer. So I want you to be able to see it. So I don't want to press too lightly. So here we go. And like I said, at the end, we may need to go over this a little thicker, but for now, I think. There we go. Okay, we'll do the other one. All right. So we'll get the fist. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to, if anyone's just joining the stream, I see a couple people have just joined in lately. The other thing I'm going to do after we create this Anaglyph 3D image is we're going to open some of these vintage Jaws 3D cards and see if we can complete the set based on 3 packs of cards. And I think we need like six cards. So, okay. So we've got that. Now, let's see what I want to do. Let's see, what do I want to do? Hold on. So here's the red. Okay. Now I'm going to shift it over, but not quite as much as I did before. Just a tad. Hopefully that's not as much, but who knows? We'll see. Like I said, if I was doing this digitally on layers in Photoshop, it'd be a lot easier because I can, oh, I moved it, I should have moved it a little more, or I can move it less or whatever. But when you're doing it by hand, like an analog technique like this, it's a little more difficult. Okay. All right. I can't, oh, I think this is all one layer. I forgot. I thought that was separate. So yeah, so the whole, not the hand, but the rest of the arm is going to be like there. Okay. All right. Now I'm not even looking. I'm afraid to leave. Put my 3D glasses on. I'm gonna look at that in a minute here. Once we get it. So we've got. So the torso's already drawn. So oh yeah, the head. We're gonna do the head. All right. So let's see where we are with the head. Make sure that lines up here with this head. Now I'm not lining it up with so much with the registration marks, but I'm lining it up to where the head is. And then once I know that the head's in the right place, I'm gonna bump it. I just moved it over slightly, okay? Now, this is the part that the head's the one with the most detail, so. That's what I like to hear. We got comments saying we're here to learn, and hopefully I can show you how to do this. So just to reiterate, what I'm doing is I've got 2 sheets of tracing paper that are taped together. I've got an image on a separate sheet that I'm tracing, and I'm slightly bumping things around different sections. Like the hands are going to come out the most, and now the head. And I'm drawing, and I've got these Crayola, the ones that we kind of determine which markers or colored pencils work the best. And I think Crayola colored pencils, the sky blue and the red orange, are sort of probably the best for what we're trying to do here. And I'm just taking each section and bumping the blue image slightly to the right of the red image, and that's going to make it pop out. And the more we move it, the more it pops out. But if we move it too far, the effect isn't going to work because you're going to see 2 different images. All right, so there we go. And then now I want to find where the cape is. Make sure cape is lined up. I think that's good. And it seems like the one thing I didn't take into consideration is the tracing paper may warp a little bit with the heat of your hand. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't crinkle up too much. All right. Just you probably can't even see that I moved that, but I did. I moved it slightly. All right. So now I'm doing the cape. And these are all the areas that are going to pop out slightly. Once we get below the torso, that's when the image is going to recede. So that's when we're going to start moving our blue to the left. We're getting there, though. We're getting there. All right. Now let's find out where we are. We're not lining up with the registration because that's going to be a little off. We want to make sure that where our red is here is lined up with our bottom image for the legs here. Now that that's the case, now this time, now that I know where that is, I'm going to move it slightly to the left. So just tad over to the left. All right. Now I'm going to trace the legs in blue and the belt. All right, here we go. We're getting there. I'm kind of anxious to see if this works. And really, the thing is, with this kind of stuff, it's all experimentation, and that's kind of what the channel's about: is testing out this stuff, seeing what works. You know, so far I've been lucky that everything I've tried to create has worked, but that might not always be the case. I mean, sometimes it just might not work out. So we'll see, you know. But so you just want to experiment, try different markers. I mean, that's what I used to do as a kid, and some things worked and some things didn't. And back then, no internet, so at least now you've got a starting point where you can kind of look at some of this stuff and try to figure that out and get a little help rather than just going into it blind. But it's all about playing around and experimenting. All right, last little piece is this foot. So I'm going to line the foot up. I'm going to lift this up. And then again, I'm going to, because we want it to go back, we're going to move it slightly to the left. Okay. Oh, I almost drew it in red. I don't want to do that. Okay. Here's the moment of truth. So we need to get rid of our bottom image. Hopefully that blue is dark enough, because I think it'll help a little bit when I put just a blank piece of paper behind it. That might be the drawback with the color pencils versus, I can see it. So, all right. I want to get it as flat as possible so we can see our blue through here. And I may have to go, I may have to go over it a little more. And again, I realize most of you probably don't have 3D glasses on you, but you're going to have to take my word for it. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm looking at it. It looks pretty good. I can see the 3D effect. I could have probably bumped it over a little more on the 3D because it doesn't stick out as much as I would hope. But I was just worried about going too far. But like I said, it's a technique that works. And then again, we could tweak it if we wanted to. You know, I don't want to waste too much time because you guys won't even really be able to see it unless you have the 3D glasses. And you might not even be able to see it on screen like I can see it. But we could go back here and go over all the blue, make it a little darker, make the lines thicker. I think it would also help if the lines are thicker. But once we've got them drawn in there, then we don't have to worry so much about things shifting around and everything. But so I'm not going to do that, but that's kind of what you can do. So that is sort of the technique. And if you want, you know, you could try it with some of the markers or whatever. That's kind of up to you. But that's one anaglyph technique. The other technique, and one that's kind of fun just to play with, the easiest one to play around with, is just, like I said, you just get either your color pencils or whatever, and just get some stencils. And that's what I would recommend starting with, so you can kind of get a feel for it and everything. So, you know, you just do your circle, and then we want it to pop out a little, so we move it to the left, and we draw our blue. We'll do another smaller one here. Right here, we want this to go in the background, so we're going to move our blue to the right. And you can just do that, and that really looks good because it's all on the same. The problem with the tracing paper is that you've got two different images. I mean, another technique, I guess, what you could probably do if you had two sheets. Oh, so my bat here. Oh, I got to switch over, guys. Sorry about that. All right, let me switch out batteries while I'm talking here. But let's see. But yeah, so you can. It's not coming up. Hold on. Just give me a second. Just give me a second, guys. It's hard to get the battery out of this camera without. There we go. Okay. See, we'll be back in business in a second here. Yeah, I need to get a longer lasting battery that'll last for whatever, well, hour and a half maybe. It's usually how long I do these streams for. All right, let's see if we're back. No, not yet. It didn't. It's not picking up yet. Let's try again. Now let me try. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right. So sorry about that little snafu, technical difficulty. All right. So yeah. So I just say experiment, play around. Hopefully it wasn't dead for too long. Hopefully I caught it because I was busy talking. But yeah, so that's something that until I figure out a better way to get a longer lasting battery. And the problem is that I This gets technical. I bought this thing, but it doesn't seem to be working on my camera, so I don't know. But anyway, all right. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears, and we're going to see if we can finish this pack of Jaws 3D cards. So we're going to do some little unboxing here. So I'm going to put these aside. But yeah, what I was getting at was you might be able to try this with like acetate. Now, color pencil probably isn't going to stick to acetate. Marker might, depending on what kind of marker, if it's like a permanent. So I don't know. But who knows? That might, because that's kind of how, that's basically how animators used to do is like sheets, like cell vinyl and stuff like that. So maybe some kind of cell vinyl thing would be a way to go too, especially if you've got like a light table or something like that. So the other thing you could do, well, no, I'm not even gonna, I probably won't mention that. It gets too complicated. But yeah, just play around with some different techniques. So let's get to right here. So we've got these Jaws 3D trading cards here. All right. This is the set. They're kind of cool. So on the front, they've got pictures of the movie. And again, the reason why you can't just take stills from the movie and make them 3D is because it's a different technique. The movie was shot as a polarized 3D technique. These are Anaglyph. So that's why we've got the 3D illustrations. And these are like really, really cool. It almost looks like he's wearing glasses. The shark's wearing glasses, but I think that's glass. So that's like that notorious scene. I even put it in the back of my my video where the shark busts through the glass. It's so bad, but it's fun for 80s. It's an 80s movie. I used to love this movie, and as a kid, and I'm sorry to say, but as a kid, I was like, Jaws 3D is way better than even the first Jaws. It's way better than 2 and the first Jaws. No, Jaws is like one of the best movies ever. But as a kid, you're kind of skewed by special effects and things like this. And I was like, it's in SeaWorld. It was so dumb. But anyway, but that doesn't take back my love of Jaws 3D the movie, because as kind of corny and campy as it was, and it's got some cool actors in it. It's got Dennis Quaid, Louis Gossett Jr. And so that was kind of cool. All right, so we've got 3 unopened packs here. Where's my little sheet? You guys help me out with this. These are the cards I need. I need number 9, number 15, number 19, number 24, number 32, and number 42. So we're going to see, and I'm just anxious to open these up because it's got the little 3D glasses. Oh, and I wanted to show you these too. I found these in my pack of cards. And this is Anaglyph, but it's in color. This is from a pack of Young Indiana Jones cards, if you remember that. And it's kind of cool. I like how they did the 3D viewer. It's kind of looks like binoculars. So and you can see some 3D, but again, the color when you're using color images with these blue and red glasses, it just doesn't have a great effect to it. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. So other than this and the Jaws 3D, I don't know of any other cards that were in 3D, but it might be fun. Maybe even sometime on the channel. I mean, I love making these cards. And even though I kind of ripped on plastic packages, these are in plastic packages. This is not, so these were back in 83. Back then, most things were still wax packs, but this might have been one of the first ones that was done in plastic, and maybe it's just because I don't know, maybe because it's in 3D or what, but most were still using wax packs. But now, this is now more that stuff that you're going to find in like a Pokemon card or a Magic the Gathering or something, or some of them are foil. But I did see some techniques of how to kind of get this kind of look too. So we might try to, if it makes sense. Like I'm thinking, like, do you guys remember Panini stickers? They were kind of in a paper pack, kind of like this, but with the crimped edges. So that might be something, because that's kind of fits the kind of time frame I'm looking at. But here we go, Tops. We got a bazooka ad. I don't know. What do you say? You guys want to open some of these up? Let me check out some of the stuff on the let me go to the channel. I mean, some of the comments, because I've been kind of working away on that thing. So let's see. yeah, we got some comments about the phone. Dennis Quaid, I remember that. Yeah, I laughed at that movie. Kevin P. West says, yes, it was quite laughable. uh, Ralph says I was watching Jaws 3D in the theater. Classic, definitely. Yeah, I saw it in the theater at least 2 times, maybe more. I don't know, but yeah, I loved it. Sponsored by SeaWorld. Yeah, I don't doubt it. It would have to be. I mean, they'd have to give the okay. Why do film series? Here's a question we got from Edie. Why do film series become so increasingly shocking as the series go on? After which, they just become dreadful. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is funny that in the 80s you've got all these 3D horror movies, and it just happened to line up with all these 3D movies. All these movie franchises were at the point where they were going to do their third installment, and then they went straight to 3D, and they were pretty much well, I was going to say no pun intended, but pun intended, they kind of jumped the shark. So and then see, Kevin P. West says, I remember when they showed Creature from the Black Lagoon on 3D and TV as a kid, and we had to vet the glasses from the Pepsi cans or something. Yeah, absolutely. That was, I remember that. But the one I remember was called Gorilla at Large. I mentioned that earlier, and that was I remember that being the first thing where you had to go to like 7-Eleven, or it might have been Pepsi. I'm trying to remember, but and then Edie had mentioned I saw Maelstrom at the Revival local theater a few years ago. Oh, so that's what because I remember you saying you were a bit younger. I'm like, how did you watch that back when it was out? Because I had no idea that they would re-release those. But that's cool that they did that. That's pretty awesome. That would be fun. I would love to see a showing like that. That's pretty awesome. All right. Josh says one of the most fun things about horror flicks, though. Yeah. Sometimes the worse they are, the better in some ways. All right. Okay. Let's get down to it. Let's close this thing out, and we're going to see if I can complete my set from back in 1983 when I tried to collect the whole set of Draws 3D trading cards, and I came up short. So let's see. All right, let's open this first one up. I want to kind of do this slow. I could rip this open. We've only got 3 packs. Oh, I can see him in there. All right. Ooh, these are a little harder to open than the wax packs, and there's kind of no saving them. I don't know if I can save them. I'll try to see if I can pop these out. Okay. Oh, they just look so brand new. Like mine are so like they've kind of been through the ringer. Like the edges are kind of a little print, but man, they look so. Oh, whoa! Look at that. Look at this gum. So I always was talking about how usually the gum was thicker. Like the gum that I did was thicker, but this gum is thinner. This gum is about the same size as the bubble tape that we used in the. So it's kind of off screen. I don't want to grab it, but this looks like almost the exact same size as the bubble tape. So maybe some of the bubble gum was smaller like that. But that's pretty cool because now I feel like my recreation cards that I made are a little more authentic because maybe they weren't all the same size, and there was gum that was a little thinner like that. And this gum I'm definitely not going to eat it, but it's a little better condition than the other one, and that might be because it was saved in like a plastic like this. And here we go. That's what I don't get is this finder. Here, let's see. I guess it's about the same. It's just a little smaller. So I was going to say, why don't they make it the same exact size? But yeah, because I didn't remember because I had lost all my original 3D viewers for the cards here, for my Jaws cards. I thought I had some of these, but I don't have any left. So it's cool that I have some of these to go with my collection. All right, here we go. Brody's Warning. I'm not sure if I have this one. And the artwork on this is really cool, though. All right. Can we see that? Brody's Warning. All right. Let's see what number this is. This is number 25. Nope, I have that one. But it's a better condition one. So I'll swap that one out with the newer one. Okay, here we go. The Captive Creature. I'm pretty sure I have this one. Let's see what number it is. Number 13. Yeah, I've seen that guy a number of times. These guys here. You see that? All right. I'm going to just go slow. Just hopefully I get one. Capsized. Oh, I believe I have this one. Capsized. Let's see. Pretty cool artwork, though. I should be looking at these in 3D here. That's pretty cool. All right. So Capsize is number, no, I know I have the Louis Gossett Jr. one. All right. So far, I've gone through half the pack. Is it 6 cards? Yeah, 6 cards in a pack. Oh, wait. Oh, whoa. Look at that. I don't know if this is, there's supposed to be 6 cards. 1 viewer, 1 stick of bubble gum. There's an extra card in this one. Hold on. There's 4 cards left, and I've opened. If that's the case with each one, maybe we'll have a little better chances, but yeah, we got an extra card here. All right, let's see. 17, nope. Wonders of SeaWorld. Wonders of SeaWorld. There you go. All right. I know I have this one. Damn it, I have this one. Okay, that's Sean Brody. No, for a fact I have that one. But it is really cool just to see these in kind of pristine condition. All right, 18. Nah, I needed 19. All right, here we go. Here's water in your eye. I think that was like some effect that they had that shot out. Okay. All right, what do we got? 11. Nah, dang. No, let's see what it looks like, the 3D part. Catherine in Trouble. Okay, guys, that whole set was a bust. That whole set was a bust. All right, let's open another one. All right. Yeah, we got people asking if Louis Gossett's still alive. I think so, but all right, here we go. We're seeing one we just opened in the last pack. That's not a good sign. All right, so let's get our gum out of the way. At least, we're not damaging any of these cards. Gum. All right, got another viewer. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, so we have that. We even looked at that one. So let's pull out the next one. The Captive Creature. I think these are both cards we had in the last set. Yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, come on. That's the same pack with 2 of the same cards. That's not even right. How do you get the same? Hopefully I get. No, this one doesn't have an extra one either. No, that ain't even cool. All right, guys. At this point, I'm just like, if I could get one that I don't have. No. We just opened this thing. Another Louis Gossett Jr. This is like the same pack. All right, 28. No. Well, it's not one that we've opened already today, but all right, here we go. 43. We needed 42. Blasted by a grenade. See, now I'm kind of bummed that I opened these. I should have kept them in the box. I don't care though. I mean, I'm not. To me, it doesn't matter that I've got a box. All right. 16. Now we've got it. We needed 15. And this opening day at SeaWorld. All right. So we've got 2 that are a total bust. What do you say? Come on, knock on wood. Let's see if we can get. It'd be nice if we could get 1, maybe 2. Would even, let's see if we can get 2. I'm holding out for 2. I think getting like it is possible. I need 6 cards, and there are 6 cards in a pack. So I don't know what the odds are, but that it's next to nothing. But I would say that's pretty difficult. But who knows? But if we could at least get 1, come on, let's hold out for at least 1. All right, I'm gonna rip this open. Let's take the viewer. Let's find our gum. Let's get rid of our. Oh, that was a solid piece of gum. The other ones both broke. All right. Okay. I'm trying not to look at the other ones. Spear gum assault. Oh, I think I might need this one. 12? No, I don't need it. Darn it. I thought I didn't have that one. I don't remember that one. Spear gun assault. Oh well. All right. Let's see. Let's pull another one out. 32. Oh, that's one we need. 32. I'm gonna mark it off my list. I don't know. I was saying before when we were doing the last time we were doing a stream like this, where I was on a Patreon stream where I opened a whole box of baseball's greatest gross outs, not packed, but a whole box, and I was able to build a set and the puzzle and everything. But I was saying that if you're looking at like a vintage, if you're wanting to get a set of vintage cards, it's probably cheaper and better to go find somebody who has a complete set already that they've already put together and buy that than it is to try to build one from vintage packs, because the vintage packs, unopened packs, can be pricey. I mean, it's all relative, but anyway, so we got 32. That was on my list. So let's see what let's take a closer look, since this is one that we don't have. So unaware of the giant shark, the SeaWorld skiers continue as normal. And then let's see what the 3D version looks like. Oh, we've got the skiers, the pursued. All right, I'm gonna put on my glasses. Check this out. Oh, that's pretty cool. And the funny thing is, I don't know if I mentioned this, but if you flip your glasses around, then it goes backwards. So now the skiers are in the foreground instead of the background. Interesting. All right, so we got one. We're kind of hoping we get one. All right, let's see. We've got what? 4 more cards. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. I think Fitzroy Strikes Back. 38. Nope. You got that one. But that's kind of a classic image, you know, with the fin. I know we haven't opened that one today, but I'll show that. I mean, the artwork on here is really great. I love this stuff. All right. Okay. Let's see. And I'm not looking at the other ones. 18. We need 19. We got 18 before. So far we've got tons of doubles, but that's here's water in your eye one. All right. 2 more cards. Let's see. 11. No, we have this one. Man, we keep getting the same ones. Catherine in Trouble. We saw that one. We saw that one earlier today, even. All right. Last one. No, we have that one. Number 5. Sea Lovers. And we've got, is that the Shark Hunter or who's that? Fitzroyce, yeah. All right, guys. We were able to get one out of all those cards. We were able to get one. It's a pretty cool one, I guess. There's no shark in it, so I guess it's not that cool. It's a bunch of water skiers, but yeah, pretty cool. And then I would probably replace the old ones in my pack with these new ones. But again, just wanted to mention, and I will probably, because I've got even more extras of these Jaws 3D cards, which I will throw in with orders of, I've got right now on circworks.com, I've got this. Where's the other one? There's another one here somewhere. Oh yeah. I've got a bundle, and I'll throw in some Jaws 3D cards, 3D glasses included, but I've got a bundle pack with some different 3D prints and everything. So you guys can check that out on my website. So next week on the channel, and those of you Patreons, when I get done with this stream, I'm going to upload the newest video on Patreon, because as you know, patrons get to see those videos a week early. And this next one is a fun one. It's probably a project that many of you don't remember, even if you did kind of grow up in that era. But it's one that I remember fondly. So, and it's kind of a cool one. So it's a special one for me that I'm going to rebuild, and I think you guys will dig it too, because it's super fun. But like I said, if you're on my Patreon, keep track of Patreon, because I'll be uploading that soon for patrons, and then next week I will upload that one. To the YouTube channel. which should be fun. And then the following week after that, we'll be doing something that has to do with that video here live. So that's kind of how we're rolling with this. So thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with me for a good, how long have we been going? Not quite an hour and a half this time, but yeah. So and feel free, if you got something out of this particular live stream. I've got two other ones. I've got one where I make the vintage wax packs, and then I've got one where I unbox a bunch of, kind of like what we're doing today with these Jaws 3D cards. I unwrapped a bunch of vintage gross stickers, like I don't know if I unwrapped any Garbage Pail Kids, but like wacky packages and just weird, bizarre ones like trash can trolls, which are kind of the tops, kind of had a follow up to the Garbage Pail Kids, and a bunch of other gross packs. It was just me unboxing a bunch of gross packs. So check those out. And if you haven't seen the 3D video where I show how to make, I showed kind of this print, how to make this print in 3D. Definitely check that out. That's super fun, and because when you do it digitally, it works a little bit better than what we try to do here with using analog tools, but it's still fun to play around with and everything like that. But thank you again for checking out the stream, and I just want to give you guys a round of applause and thanks everyone. And I will see you guys. I'll see you live probably in a couple weeks, but I'll have a recorded video coming out, so definitely check that out. So thanks again everyone in the chat. Take it easy, and that is all.